I was lying there in diapers. I had absolutely no control. And they said, before I got it, he said, there's no side effects. I won't get sick, I won't get nauseous, I won't get this, I won't get that, I won't lose my, nothing is going to go wrong with this preventive chemo. It was poison. And David, my son, and my other sons were busy calling my surgeon, telling them what was going on with me. Of course, I never continued with the chemo after that. But it was horrible. And the doctor said, oh, it's going to be nothing. They don't even know. They don't even know what this poison will do to your body.
And yet you can understand almost why they're afraid to even go there. Because if they start uncovering this Pandora's box and saying, we don't have all the answers, then what happens? You know, I think it's to our benefit, but it's not to their benefit in terms of power and in terms of the establishment of medicine as being an institution that is really revered or has been historically revered in this country. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Very scary. Very
Scary.
scary.
Can you talk about the experience of writing a book after, or what was kind of the process of, was it the film and then the book, or what was happening at the same time, and what was that like for you?
It was sort of concurrent. Certainly, you know, the research informed both, and then how we framed both the book and the film had to do with how we had framed our interview instruments. I'm really proud of the book and excited that it's out. I do feel that it's written in a way that is not just for a scholarly audience, but it's also for a lay audience. I do, you know, this is a bad thing to say, please cover your ears. But I'm really not sure how many people are going to wind up reading this book. You know, because again, I do think that visual media is easier for people to digest and that people resonate with it in a different kind of way. So even though I'm hopeful that both of them reach somebody, I'm a little bit more optimistic that the film itself might be a little bit more useful as a public information vehicle. So, but it was really amazing to immerse in both of these projects and to realize that these women are so brave. They're just so amazing, and to be reminded of that every day that I woke up and was touching the data and reading their stories. I mean, isn't the human, I mean, it sounds like trite, but the human spirit is amazing. In the face of tremendous adversity, people chug on with their lives, and they survive, and they're brave, and they continue to function. It's truly amazing to me.
What's been the reaction of people at UCLA and in the whole study group and in the university? I mean, is this something that they are interested in promoting, or it seems like, you know, there you are in Los Angeles, and it's, you know, all the media people are there, and is this something that they see as, wow, somebody here did something that's really important, we want to help to kind of promote it, or are they not that interested in that?
In fairness, UCTV, that's the University of California TV station, they claim they have 10 million people watching them. I don't know who these 10 million people are. It's just monkeys, but they have kindly asked me on a number of occasions, let's broadcast it. The problem is they want certain rights to it, and I don't really understand what that means. Like, does that mean they then own it, and then I don't get to decide anymore if somebody gets it for free? So that's a little bit problematic to me. Certainly, yeah, I'm housed in the medical school, and I found that my colleagues who are in the breast centers are aware of our project. You know, one of the biggest names in oncology wrote the foreword to our book, and yet I wrote to her recently to ask her about a scholarly article that I've written, whether it would be appropriate for a journal she edits, and her response was, oh, everybody
terms of issues around early detection, et cetera.
Right.
It's been exceedingly difficult for African American women. And I guess I was just curious about what you found from your sample, that is to say, because again, I don't remember the names of the different persons in the documentary, but there was a woman who clearly said hers was at a much more advanced stage.
And that was fairly typical of the sample. But on the other hand, once the African American women were treated and diagnosed and went to support groups, they formed support networks that were far more vigorous and very, very effective at doing outreach in Los Angeles than the European American women. Interestingly, I don't know if you remember Patsy, the lady who left her car on with
Oh, yes,
branding.
yes.
Patsy has been a tremendous proponent, for example, and the way that she brought information to the African American community about how to run support groups originally was to go to white support groups. And at the time, she said they had more information, so she went to them to get information to bring it back to her community. And so she spent a lot of time, for example, working with Dr. Susan Love, who many of you are aware is a very great oncologist and has done a great deal of work in breast cancer. But the African American support groups in LA kick ass. They are they're so much more effective and so much more enthusiastic than the other groups. But as you said, it's still there's not enough outreach. There's not enough knowledge. And I was sharing with one of the women at dinner that we tried really hard to make it a third with Latinas.
Yeah,
of course, because I'm in LA. We did not, after a year of recruiting with 2 half-time Latina field workers, get a single respondent. And I've thought a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I think, I have a couple of theories. One of them is I think that, not unlike African American women, they're diagnosed at such a later stage that, in fact, they may not see these post-treatment side effects as being post-treatment side effects, but rather part and parcel of their disease experience. We were also told that we should go to husband, and that we were neglectful in not doing that would be a more culturally appropriate way of getting on. But we just didn't know. And I think, too, that this is all going to change. One of the reasons that I think nobody used to talk about post-treatment symptoms is people didn't survive, right? And so now we have people who are surviving long-term. And so now we know that, in fact, these things can happen.
Are you continuing with this research, or where do you see yourself going from here, I guess?
I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. We are now, as many of you are aware, in research dollars at a weird juncture. NIH does not have money, which would be one of the funding sources I would approach. Foundations are cutting back in terms of what they're funding. And so whether I could get funding is a question. And then the other question is, I don't know that I'm the right person to do this. I'm a qualitative researcher, and what really needs to be done is an epidemiological study. And so I would be thrilled to participate in that kind of study, but I don't think I'm not the woman for this. So I think what's going to happen is that I'm going to keep trying to do more applied work in terms of public outreach. And certainly now I've been expanding this to other chronic diseases. There are a lot of diseases that women suffer from disproportionately and that are pretty much neglected in terms of research, like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And then, too, these are also conditions that can't be addressed very well by biomedicine, but can be addressed by alternative medicine, and yet we all are kind of pretending that, ooh, that nasty alternative medicine. Yeah, I'm from California, so we're a little bit more amenable to it. But yeah, I come from a biomedical background. My mother was a nursing professor, and my father's a physician, and certainly that might